All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into No Such Time to Me. I'm No Such Time, and today we're reading chapters 10, 11, and 12. Um, Let me move that bag of laundry. It looks like a mess back there. Hold on. All right. So, yeah. Last night I didn't watch the game. But you know, I paid attention to the internet a lot last night, and the way it does things, and there's a lot of like, hold on a second. There's a lot of like stuff going on that as I looked at the internet and realized that you can see that there's a lot of darkness going on, a lot of disrespect towards people, and a lot of bitter selfishness that shows for this time of month. Actually, this month exactly. Um, I saw a post yesterday that specifically like something got the name of something due to somebody being it goes back to like long ago, and you know the most we could do is just move past that phase, but people just don't want to. They'll always remember stuff that's horrible and tragic. They'll never allow themselves to remember the good things that happened, even though that's what I try to do most of the time. I try not to remind myself of tragedies and stuff like that that happened, because if we keep remembering these tragedies that happened, we're just gonna be one big ball of hatred towards other people, and that's not really, you know it's rough because this time of year ends up being like one of it ends up we're in a culture war right now, ladies and gentlemen, and that's something like it's pretty easy to see we're in a culture war right now, and some things are getting messed up right now, and we're seeing full circle of something that happened from like long ago come back around, and it's it's supposed to be testing people, but people are just going about their lives, and now it's crazy what American history had seen, and we're repeating a point of history that's just we're repeating history, but in a way that's like not good, and you would think by now people would understand. In fact, I remember that phase for like a year or so where history people were knocking history down and getting hateful towards history. Okay, so now that they've knocked history down and altered history books, it's allowing them to do what they want to now, and that's the part of the big problem as to why things are how they are today. You can see it everywhere pretty much. It's I hate to say it, but racism is coming from a different side now than it was, and that's not me lying. You see that. You can actually see that going on right now in today's society, and it's just really horrible to see because along with that, you see people getting hated that aren't even actually doing anything wrong, like myself, who I get hated on because of my skin now, and I get called racist and all that other stuff, even though I'm the one that gets bullied by people. So it's amazing that we're in a time like that. So, all right, the silver trumpet, chapter 10. The Lord said to Moses, "Make two trumpets of hammered silver, and use them for calling the community together and having the camps set out. When both are sounded, the whole community is to assemble before you at the entrance of the tent of meeting. If only one is sounded, the leaders, the head of the clans of Israel, are to assemble before you. When a trumpet blast is sounded, the tribes camping on the east are to set out at the sound of a second blast. The sound, uh, the the camps on the east are to set out. The blast will be a signal from for setting out to gather the assembly, blow the trumpets, but not with a single signal for setting out. All right, so he's saying you can blow these trumpets, but don't blow them for a signal of setting out. Basically, I guess there's a certain way of playing it that you can't you can't play it. You can't play the one for setting out. Like I think that's the best way to explain it. You can't play the one for setting out. You have to play like a full on like song or something like that. I don't know. The sons of Aaron, the priests, are to blow the trumpets. This is to be the lasting ordinance for you and the generation to come. When you go into battle in your own land against an enemy who is oppressing you, sound a blast on a trumpet. Then you will be remembered by the Lord your God and rescued from your enemies. Also, at your time of rejoicing, your appointed festival and new moon fests, you are to sound a trumpet over the burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. They will be a memorial for you before your God. I am the Lord your God. So, my question about that is that gets brought up in the Bible a bunch of times, okay? Moon festivals are, to me, I always thought they were paganists, a pagan's ritual, because that's when I would see the most people wearing their stones around their neck, dancing around like a fire and stuff like that. It was every single new moon or whatever like that they would do it, and that's why this confuses me when they talk about this here, and because I don't know, I don't think the Lord appreciated it in a way. I think the Lord despised the new moon festivals, because if you look at it, they're celebrating a new moon, which is a celebration of something underneath of God. They're not really celebrating God Himself. And from the sounds of it, you are to sound a trumpet over the burnt offering and fellowship offering. They will be memorials for you before your God. So it just confuses me because they're not really specifying that He's mad at them for the celebration of the new moon. So I'm just confused as to what it is, how the Lord feels about it. So all right, the Israelites leave Sinai on the 12th day of the second month of the second year. The cloud lifted from above the tabernacle of the covenant law. Then the Israelites set out from the desert of Sinai and traveled from place to place until the cloud came to rest in the desert of Paran. They set out this time at the Lord's command through Moses. The division of the camp of Judah went first under the standard Nashna, son of Amminadab, was in command. Nathaniel, son of Zuar, was over the division of the tribe of Issachar. And Eliab, son of Helon, was over the division of the tribe of Zebulun. Then the tabernacle was taken down, and the Gershonites and Memorites who carried it set out. The division of the camp of Reuben went next under their standards. Eleazar, son of Shadur, was in command. Samuel, son of Zurabadash, Zerashaddah, was over the division of the tribe of Samai. And Eliphaz, son of Delu, was over the division of the tribe of Gad. Then the Kohathites set out carrying the holy things. The tabernacle was set to be was to be set up before they arrived. The division of the camp of Ephraim went next, under the standards of Elamashma, son of Ammihud, was in command of Gamaliel, son of Pedazur, was over the division of the tribe of Manasseh, and Abidan, son of Gideon, was over the division of the tribe of Benjamin. Finally, as the rear guard for all the units, the division of the camp of Dan set out under their standards. Azahar, son of Ammishadah, I'm sorry, that name is hard to pronounce, was in the command of Pagiel, son of Ochran, was over the division of the tribe of Asher, and Ahar, son of Enan, was over the division of the tribe of Naphtali. This was the order of the march of Israelites' division as they set out. Now, Moses said to Obab, son of Reuel, Midianite, Moses, father-in-law, we were setting out for the place about which the Lord said, I will give it to you. Come with us, and we will treat you well, for the Lord has promised good things to Israel. He answered, No, I will not go. I am going back to my own land and my own people. But Moses said, Please do not leave us. You know we are here. You know where we should camp in the wilderness, and you can be our eyes. If you come with us, we will share with you whatever good things the Lord gives us. So they set out from the mountain of the Lord and traveled for 3 days. The ark of the covenant of the Lord went before them. During those 3 days, to find them a place to rest, the cloud of the Lord was over them by day when they set out from the camp. Whenever the ark set out, Moses said, Rise up, Lord. May your enemies be scattered. May your foes flee before you. Whenever it came to rest, he said, Return, Lord, to the countless thousands of Israel. So, alright, we're on to chapter 11. So, they're getting ready for war, they're getting their places set up for war. I don't know if the war takes place here. I know it's definitely in Judges. There's a whole war that breaks out, and that's how you start seeing people use God in the midst of a war and stuff like that. So, it's one of those things that everybody was believing in God, but and everybody thought they were on the right side, but everybody was just fighting each other that way. It's crazy. You'll just have to listen, but all right, let's get on to chapter 11. Fire from the Lord. Chapter 11. Now the people complained about their hardship in their hearing of the Lord, and when he heard them, his anger was aroused. Then the fire from the Lord burned among them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. When the people cried out to Moses, he prayed to the Lord, and the fire died down, so that the place was called Taberah, because fire from the Lord had burned among them. So the fire from the Lord, um, he got angry and he just burned some stuff with it because it was because of yeah, because something that happened within the camp here. So quell from the Lord. The rebel with them began to crave other food. And is that rebel food? Anyway, rebel. And again, the Israelites started wailing and said, "If only we had meat to eat. We uh, we remember the fish we ate in Egypt at no cost. Also, the cucumber, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic. But now we have lost our appetite. We never see anything but this manna. The manna was like their coriander seed and looked like resin. The people went around gathering it, it then ground it in a hand mill or crushed it in a mortar. They cooked it in a pot or made it into loaves, and it tasted like something made with olive oil. When the dew settled on the camp at night, the manna also came down. So the Lord was feeding them, and they were like, we're sick of this. We're sick of getting the same exact thing every single night from the Lord. We want something new. We miss the meat we used to eat. We miss all these other things from Egypt. And the thing is, like, this is just people being ungrateful. But like, you know, over the course of time, you have to, it's just something to be grateful for. Yes, it gets old and stuff like that, but sometimes you have to be grateful for what you're given at the time, because when you're grateful for something, more comes later on. But like these people here, they're just ungrateful right now. What's going on? And this is the beginning of like their own camps and all that. So I don't know. Moses heard the people of every family wailing at the entrance to their tent. The Lord became exceedingly angry, and Moses was troubled. He asked the Lord, "Why have you brought this trouble on your servant? What have I done to displease you that you put the burden of all these people on me? Did you did you conceive all these people? Did you give them birth? Why do you tell them? Why do you tell me to carry them in my arms as a nurse carries an infant to the land you promised on oath to their ancestors? Where can I get where can I get meat from all these people? They keep wailing, 'Give us meat to eat.' I cannot carry all these people by myself. The burden is too heavy for me. This is how you are going to treat me. Please go ahead and kill me. If I have found favor in your eyes, and let me down, don't let me face down my own ruin." The Lord said to Moses, "Bring me 70 of Israel's elders, who are known to you as leaders and officials among the people. Have them come to the tent of meeting, that they may stand there with you. I will come down and speak with you there, and I will take some of the power of the Spirit that is on you and put it on them. They will share the burden of the people with you, so that you will not have to carry it alone." So the Lord's giving a reason for these people to stop whining and start like being serious, because Moses is tired of it and the Lord sees that. So the Lord's like, "I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go ahead and make it back." So he's gonna go put some of the spirit that Moses has, and he's gonna go and show people that they must start relying on themselves outside of Moses. Um, so yeah, it's yeah. I could understand where Moses is coming from on that. I've been in situations before where like there's so many people. There's like people to take care of, and everybody just wants to put their burdens on you. They don't want to put it on themselves. And I've been in situations like that, and it gets so hectic. Like it's like everybody would put their burdens on me, but not like listen to a single word I had to say back. And so that's why I'll get frustrated sometimes, and I'll handle situations the way I do. Like I'll leave certain places and stuff like that because people don't want to listen to what I have going on. They'll want me to listen to their burdens before they even listen to my burdens. And then sometimes they won't even listen to my burdens. They'll put their burdens on me and just walk away from problems and stuff like that, or make me less significant than them. And it's just kind of like, okay, I'm done listening to you. It's like you feel sorry for a person and they have all these burdens, and you just keep feeling sorry, and then one day you're just like, okay, this is becoming a bit ridiculous. When do you stop complaining and start like realizing that like everything in the world isn't against you? That I see that in a lot of people. They'll complain to get like they'll do the woe is me, and then they'll put the burdens on the people, and they're strong enough to handle them, but they'll still do that. Oh, people did this to me, and blah blah blah, and it's just like, you see me still standing strong. Why can't you stand strong? You know. All right. Tell the people, concentrate yourselves in preparation for tomorrow. When will you eat meat? The Lord heard you when you wailed. If only we had meat to eat, we were better off in Egypt. Now the Lord will give you meat and you will eat it. You will not eat for just 1 day or 2 days or 5 days, 10 or 20 days, but the whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils and you loathe it because you have rejected the Lord who is among you, and have wailed before him, saying, why did we ever leave Egypt? So what the Lord's about to do is he's going to do it. He's going to feed them, but he's going to do it out of spitefulness, and he's going to do it where it's like you're going to get so much food that you're going to eat, and it's going to come. It's like it's going to be you know it's going to be coming out their nostrils. I don't know if that's real, but it's just like when people cry, you know, and you see them crying, it's like, and then I see my situation and what I deal with and all that, and I'm like, what the heck are you crying for, man? What are you crying for? Like, life isn't that hard. But there's people that actually do that. I see people dealing with sad. They complain about the most like pettiest stuff, and I look at myself. I'm like, are you really complaining about that? I've been through so much worse than you. You know, I will almost witness the end of my life at one point. And you want to sit there and cry about something that happened to you? I don't get it, man. People are so weak. They're so weak, and that's why I don't get. That's why I don't get it sometimes. People will complain and cry wolf, but then turn around and not have anything really badly going on in their life. And sometimes they'll make excuses for themselves just so people give them attention. Because that's all it really is like a form of getting attention, you know? Um, I don't know how much, when it comes down to it, how much can somebody keep crying wolf without, somebody even not caring anymore? Because that's what it comes down to. You cry wolf, and then you think people are going to keep caring for you, and then they just stop because they're like, okay, this is ridiculous at this point, you know? So it might be, if you're dealing with stuff and you're dealing with it, and you see people continuously crying and they don't care much anymore, it's because you've cried too much, and you've cried to a point and complained to a point where like everybody don't believe your story at this point, and there's some people I see on the internet that are just like that too. And at some point I even start seeing in myself that what they're saying, and That's the way it goes. It's not like I'm falling victim into a crowd of people. It's just like there's some points I do see where people are coming from. I can take both sides and see where people are coming from, and try to justify why something about that may need to change. So, but Moses said, "Here I am, among 6,000 men on foot, and say, I will give them meat to eat for a whole month. Would you have enough if flocks and herds were slaughtered for them? Would they have enough if all the fish in the sea were caught for them?" The Lord answered Moses, "If the Lord is the Lord arms too short, now you will see whether or not what I say will come true for you." Moses went out and told the people what the Lord had said. He brought together 70 of their elders, and them stand around the tent. The Lord came down in a cloud and spoke with him, and he took some of the power of the Spirit that was on him and put it into the 70 elders. When the Spirit rested on them, they prophesied, but did not do so again. They prophesied, but do not do so again. However, two men whose names were Eldad and Medad had remained in the camp. They were listed among the elders, but did not go out to the tent. Yet the Spirit also rested on them, and they prophesied in the camp. A young man ran and told Moses, "Eldad and Medad are prophesying in a camp." That okay. Joshua, son of Nun, who had been Moses' aide since youth, spoke up and said, "Moses, my Lord, stop them." But Moses replied, "Are you jealous for my sake? I wish that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his Spirit in them." Then Moses and the elders of Israel returned to the camp. Now a wind went out from the Lord and drove quail in from the sea. I scattered them up to 2 cubits deep all around the camp, as far as a day's walk in any direction. All the day and night, and next day the people went out and gathered quail. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. That's an animal name. Quail? Oh, quail. Sorry, that's quail. That's actually what I was supposed to be saying. Okay. No one gathered less than 10 homers. Then they spread them out around the camp, but while the meat was still between their teeth, and before it could be consumed, the anger of the Lord burned against the people, and he struck them with several severe plague. Therefore, the place was named Kibroth Hattaavah, because they buried the people who had craved their food. From Kibroth Hattaavah, the people traveled to Hazeroth and stayed there. So the people left the camp because of how the people were acting and what the Lord did to the people there. This just goes to show you, do not complain. Do not complain about stuff. If you're not dealing with anything at all, don't complain. All right? Look, there's a lot of people out there that play this. I'm gonna say this. There's a group of men out there that aren't actually men, and they're called soy boys because they cry about the problem. They cry about their girlfriend leaving them. They cry about other stuff, and this is the problem with us is, we live in a society where crying is okay, and all this month is from people that's going on right now is that it's crying. It's crying because of their past. Look, I have past issues, but I don't make months about myself because I'm not that important. Even if I was important, I would take those months away. I would take the month away. And we would be celebrating the person behind the month, even though that there is not something the Lord wants either. So at the end of the day, this crybaby, nonsensical way of doing things needs to stop. You see what happened when these people complained about something the Lord did for them? He was trying to save them? You see that? That's why you don't go around acting like a crybaby about everything. Look, we're all dealing with stuff. We're all dealing with problems. We're all dealing with things we had dealt with long ago. But when people try to bring that stuff back up into your life because they feel bad about themselves, that's something that's unreasonably uncalled for, actually. Nobody should be bringing up anybody else's life problems or trying to make people feel bad. Look, you feel bad, that's something you need to work on. That's what you read the Bible for. That's what the Bible teaches you, is not to feel bad. This right here, this whole story was about people complaining about them getting what they wanted, but then turned around and the Lord got mad at them for it. So we need to stop crying, ladies and gentlemen. This whole whiny crybaby stuff that we have going on, even this month. This month has turned into a bigger curse for people than they've realized. It turned out to be a whole year long of racism and all that because they made it that way. And when you look at it, it's people. You see what happens when it's people. You're given something good and you just keep complaining and complaining and complaining about it. It turns out bad. That's the part of it that blows my mind, is this whole chapter and section right here was about people complaining about what the Lord did for them after he had saved them. Don't be how do I want to say? Don't whine like a child if stuff's not going your way. There's always a way to fix it, okay? There's always a way to better it. There's always a way to better the situation. Yeah, some things really, really are hard to get through. Yes, I agree, but do not sit there, and cry about something that happened that you can't fix. All right, move on with your life. It's called growing up. You are a mere child if you're sitting there crying about stuff. And that's what I don't get about these soy boys, this whole month. It's a bunch of crybabies, And then we got cry bullying right now, where the people who are crying the most are the ones bullying the heck out of people, and that's another problem. I see it so much. And it irks me some days to see it. And there's people that are out there dealing with stuff and having issues that don't complain much about it. And when I have issues that I complain about here too, but I don't take them to an extent where they're a big part of they make problems for me. No, I sit there and I get through it by reading this and uploading shorts for the channel and stuff like that. So there's a way of getting through things that isn't going back to do the same thing over. You can change it up a little bit. You can remove yourself from the situation and go speak with the Lord. Say a prayer. You'll get blessed for something that happened. You just it's stuff that people need to start understanding. I'm so sick of hearing people cry about stuff and then we're celebrating it. This is why I don't take too fond to it. I get called bad names over it. I get called really horrible stuff over it. But you know what? It's all part of the plan. They cry and they bully because they don't like the fact that not everybody agrees with it. So Miriam and Aaron opposed Moses. So this is about to get interesting. Chapter 12. Miriam and Aaron began to talk against Moses because of the Shuhites, because of his Shuhite's wife, for he had married a Shuhite. Has the Lord spoken only through Moses? They asked. Hasn't he also spoken through us? And the Lord heard this. Now Moses was a very humble man who more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth. At once the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, come to the tent of meeting, all three of you, all three of you. So the three of them went out. Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud. He stood at the entrance to the tent and summoned Aaron and Miriam. When the two of them stepped forward, he said, listen to my word. When there is a prophet among you, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions. I speak to them in dreams. But this is not true of my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak face to face, clearly, and did not riddles and not riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? The anger of the Lord burned against them, and he left them. When the cloud lifted from above the tent of Miriam's skin was when the cloud lifted from above the tent, Miriam's skin was leprous. It became as white as snow. Aaron turned towards her and saw that she had defiling skin disease, and he said to Moses, please, my lord, I ask you not to hold against us the sins we have foolishly committed. Do not let her be a stillborn infant coming from her mother's womb, with its flesh half eaten. Moses cried out to the Lord, please God, heal her. The Lord replied to Moses, if her father had spit in her face, would she not have been a disgrace for 7 days? Confine her outside the camp of 7 days. For 7 days after that, she can be brought back. So Miriam had confined outside the camp for 7 days, and the people did not move until she was brought back. After that, the people of Hazareth and encamped in the desert of Paran. So we're on to chapter 13 there. So yeah, the Lord's getting tired of everybody complaining. That's the moral of what's going on here. As you can see, the Lord's getting tired of everybody, man. All they do is complain like babies. And so, that's something that I took notice too. That's why, like, when people argue with me, I've picked up and noticed that the arguments are like pretty much just people complaining about stuff that they don't like about me or something I do. And you'll pick it up and you'll see it in other people. And the biggest thing is like, okay, you're gonna see that you reap what you sow. Okay, so example, one day, somebody could be complaining about something. Okay, and what the Lord will do to that person, this is just something I picked up on because I see it all. I see it all the time play out. But people, I mean, the Lord will give a reason for people to complain. Just to see if they're like compassionate back, I guess. And what we'll see is like when people are compassionate to you, he's testing to see if you're going to be compassionate back. That's why when it comes down to like things like this month, what we're seeing is an outburst of people being angry at people of different skin tone, okay? I'm bringing that up here because it's an example. But, we've been compassionate with them for a while now, but yet they'll be angry and mad and call us names, call us slurs like cracker and stuff like that. And it just gets crazy when it comes down to it, because it's like the reverse side effect to see if for the Lord to see if you're going to be compassionate with people that are compassionate with you, and this is the big problem, is like people aren't aware of this. And I pointed this out to somebody last night and I kind of got laughed at for it, and it upset me. But it's, people need to start paying attention and seeing that this is all playing out the way it is, because they want to see if they're going to be compassionate back the way we are to them. That's not a lie either. You can see it everywhere. I saw it, you know, I saw something similar happen in my life the other day where I saw something from one end and it played back on my end. And, I don't know how the person on their end took it, but, it was one of those things that I really, really wanted to see. Like, I really wanted to know if the person was going to react the same way I did in reverse. It was and it's the Lord's way of saying, "Hey, you know what? Like, let's test out and see what's going to happen here." And then everybody started messing up God's plan, God's message He was trying to send. I witnessed it firsthand. And you know what? Everybody fights against the Lord, and that's what our problem is. People fight against the Lord way too much, and they want things to go their way. And when you don't let messages and everything play out, I get made out to be the bad guy. Like in a lot of situations, I do, because the Lord's working in my favor. Well, the Lord's working in my favor because you're all out there punishing me. You as human beings, some of you guys punish people, and that's not your right to do. That's not for you to do. And I will say this, people allow me to get punished all the time. But in reverse, I let them know. I'm like, hey, you did something messed up to me here, and and you're messing up the Lord's work that He's throwing out there. And people get mad at me all the time because of stuff like this. They ridicule me. They put me on a chopping block, and then they tear me down. And that's one of the worst parts of like what I deal with on a daily basis from people who just want to talk poorly about me. But yeah, I've done nothing to anybody. That's the funny part about it, is I've done absolutely nothing to anybody. You know why I'm rising up right now? It's because the Lord is like, hey, these people are always going to be like this no matter what. You're going to rise up no matter what, though. And that's part of the reason I sit here and I do this every day, because I know the channel is going to rise, but I know the things that people do to me, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it to me till one day I become so big that they're going to realize that they messed up. People take things from me all the time. People steal my blessings all the time. So at the end of the day, I sit there and I just let them do it. But at the end of the day, at some point in time, something poorly is going to happen to them, and they need to start accepting that, because the more and more you mess stuff up for somebody, it's a call on how God it's a call that was some things are a call on how God handles stuff. If you don't like a situation and you prevent situations from happening, then you're mad because somebody got their blessing. Guess what? You're a crybaby. You're a freaking crybaby. Wipe your crocodile tears away and move on with your life. Stop crying about stuff. Stop being weak. There's been plenty of times where God has blessed me, and I'm serious. Like, people are jerks about it. People fight against God all the time, but yet they'll be the first ones to say, "Well, I believe in God and I follow God and God this and God that." No, you don't, because let me tell you something. If you followed God and you believed in God, then you would just let God do His thing. But nobody out there can seem to do that. We got control on all ends. And that's what drives me nuts about like the time frame we're in right now, because it's control coming from one side being racist towards another. Like, I could probably pull it up right now, okay? I could definitely pull something up right now at this very point. Which this is an example of control, okay? Let me show you guys this this post yesterday I said something on, and this is why, like, we're falling like Rome regardless of how we feel. All right, this lady, I didn't see the ad, but I saw this advertised somewhere, okay? This lady, the Super Bowl ad about Jesus from a group calling itself He Gets Us, also donated $50 million to an anti-LGBTQ hate groups. It's money from that $3 billion donation made by the dead Hobby Lobby guy. There's no hate like Christian love, okay? I was like, and this is why America is falling like Rome. The fact that people respect sinful ways and get mad at Christians for God's word about how he didn't accept homosexuality as okay, is why America will fall like Rome. We are on the verge of destruction. I don't care what anybody says. We are literally on the brink of destruction. We are falling like Rome. And we're falling like Rome because people with sexual tendencies, sexual desires are getting what they want. You know, that craving for lusts, that craving for a people based upon skin color, based upon sexuality, is why we're going to fall like Rome. America's on the verge of it. But I can go on here on and on and find stuff like that. Like, when you look at it, we're in a time frame where people are like praising sin, accepting sin. Like, you know, this woman right here, her caboose is too big, and she's wearing a cross necklace. How much do you believe in Christ, lady, to get your caboose to be that big? And that's fake. That's a fake caboose. I'm not gonna show it off here, but I find that a bit disturbing to have a caboose that big on a human being. All right, I can sit here all day and look at stuff and point out stuff that is of wrong and sinful, and at the end of the day, I'm in the wrong for saying it's wrong because it's against everybody it's against people, it's against what people accept. All right, at the end of the day, if you're gonna call me wrong, but yet you're not reading this, and I don't know what to tell you, because you know what? This was made to help us understand how to be better human beings, to help us understand how to live our life properly. And complaining and getting your way and whining will be good at first. But when you get your way, it might not be the blessing you want. It might be a total curse. We saw that in here. I don't know why that's hard for people to understand. And I see that in everybody, even people that read the Bible. They get what they want, and it turns out to be a complete curse. Where's your respect? Where's your dignity? Where's this Christian pride at? Oh, it sank under when you got what you wanted. Sank under because you got that thing that you wanted, even though that thing turned out to be a curse. Funny how that works, right? I think, my blessings, all I've gotten, like, they're not really curses. The one recent blessing, though, was a bit unique because I knew that wasn't gonna. I don't have a Valentine anymore, ladies and gentlemen, because that person doesn't know how to maintain focus on one person. That's why I'm not gonna sit here and talk about it too much. But I don't have a Valentine's Day anymore, ladies and gentlemen, because they decided to be a very, very social person after we made that decision. That's why I don't have a Valentine. And I want everybody to know that this is why people like me get into positions I do. You see how I'm back here today? You see how I it wasn't even for a day. I didn't even really catch any emotions like that or anything like that. Unfortunately, me catching emotions have to lead me to really, really want to really just having to deal with I don't know. It's really hard to say, but it's hard for me to catch emotions anymore for anybody because of how damaging everybody's been towards me. That's why I don't really chase anybody right now. I don't chase anybody at all, actually. I try to be friends with people before I even chase them. And then when I'm friends, I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to try to improve and go about things and, get to know them on a better level if I really, really feel like it. But, too many people are out there damaging stuff for themselves too. But a lot of stuff that I've been dealing with, I'm on guard for a lot of stuff, and I've had people tell me not to be. I'm like, okay, what? You want me to damage my emotions? So I'm just like you, where you're out there, and the thing is, for me to socialize, believe it or not, I'm going to work today. Okay, I'm going to my job. All right,
I don't get to socialize at my job because I'm stuck by myself over in an area by myself. I don't know why. I don't know why people put me to the point where I have to be alone all the time. But this is how it's been for me the past couple of years, and I'm waiting for the channel to pick up so I can say, "Screw you guys for forcing me to be alone. I'll go out in public and meet a bunch of people, and they'll get on your case." That's the way this is gonna work. God's trying to get me to a point where I can actually go and reach out to people, and they're gonna start getting on the cases of people that are like enforcing me to be alone. You know? I don't care how anybody feels. I'm not going to be alone forever. I already know I'm not going to be alone forever. And you can doubt, you can sit there and be like, you can sit there and pick on me for it all you want. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be alone forever. You know what? I'm going to change society. I'm going to change the world here. And I'm going to win. Because this has been an ongoing battle of people trying to prevent me from even having a social life. And you know what? One day I'm going to get so big that people will look for me out, that people will look for me at places, and I'll have that social life that desired social life that I want. And you know what? At the end of the day, when I get that, I'm gonna form relationships with people that I can't have right now because people in my life right now are so vindicative of letting me even like have a social life. Pretty sad actually when it comes down to it. I've tried, you know. And I pointed out before, if you watch my stream, there's one number I texted that I got in the past few months that just completely has not communicated with me. You know, I've tried to communicate with more than one person within the past few months, and the communication is very lackluster. People don't bother to do it, and I don't know what it is about me or why people do it to me. But, I'm going to change that eventually. That's all going to change. That's my hope I hold on for. Lord, please bring me people, and please make sure people stay out of my social life and stop pulling people out of my social life. In Jesus' name, amen. So I'm gonna keep focusing on getting myself up to the top here and pleasing God, and God's gonna send me people that are gonna stick around me, and nobody can prevent that from happening. You know, I am eventually going to be so big that even the people around me are gonna be mad at me. And you know what? I'm gonna have a social life. They're going to be mad at me for that because they were indicative of holding me back from having a social life. So the day that comes, they have no right in the world to hold me back from anything because what you see here is the realest person you'll ever get outside of the internet. I'm the same exact person on the internet as I am off. And I want people to understand that if you're complaining and you get mad when I have a social life, guess what? It's going to get far more worse for you when you realize that my social life consists of, good people that actually respect me and don't respect you. You know what? And that's what I pray God sends me. I pray God send me people that respects me, that don't listen to the people outside of me, that aren't afraid of standing up and sticking by my side. I don't understand that. Why I end up surrounded by a bunch of people in real life that are so against me having a social life. This is why I don't like this month. This is why I say racism from other side is real. It is very real. And I'm a verdict of it. It sucks. And it's been like this for a couple years for me. If you guys think poorly of me right now, but yeah, I'm still rising to the top. You guys will see me change. You guys will learn a lot about me as I get bigger here. You guys will learn that I'm not the bad person that everybody says I am. And I know that. And I think there's people that already understand that. But, keep stealing my blessings. And keep stealing blessings and keep whining and thinking you're supposed to get what you want. Because that's going to be a curse on your part one day. And that's where I don't bother to take control of anything. I give it all to God, and that's what I say is like anything that doesn't go my way, that God's supposed to send my way, or something good that's supposed to happen in my life, and people, and people being mad, I throw that all to God. I'm like, here, God, take care of it. And you know what? People know I'm serious about that stuff. And you know what else I've seen? I've seen the person. I've seen something like that happen to me recently where I gave the situation to God, and guess what? The person popped back up. So if you think you're being, you think it's funny to do this to people, by all means. But at the end of the day, if they're giving something to God and you're being destructive about it, you have to remember, God isn't going to be on your side if you were destructive about it. He's going to be against you doing it. And that's why, like, when it comes down to it, if you have something bad happen within your life, you have to realize you got yourself cursed because you did something wrong to somebody else. And I had people last night during the Super Bowl actually, like, go off of me and tell me I was wrong and tell me I was a horrible human being for stuff I was agreeing with from a profile. And that mob gets insane sometimes. But like last night, it was just two people, and I kept my cool under circumstances. But I kept getting corrected. They're like, "You're reading the Bible for unlawful, lawful things." No, I'm not. The Bible says that if you're complaining, it's right here. It just states that if you're complaining about stuff, God's gonna get mad at you for it. So why would you sit there and do that? And that's the problem, is all those people that are a part of this month, guess what they've done? They've complained. They've complained. Well, we're run down. The man hates us. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Tell me more about your sad story about how you got in trouble specifically. Tell me that. Tell me how police hate you, but will arrest me for almost being killed. Tell me how that works. Tell me how they hate you. Tell me how they hate you, but they'll arrest me for almost being killed. You see where this bias is coming in at? And yet people will complain. People will complain and cry. Nobody respects us. We're hated. You were forgiven a long time ago. What's the problem? What is the problem? Well, this is why God is acting the way he is right now. He's tired of their complaining. You give them what they want, they find even more reasons to complain. In fact, here, let me see if I can find that picture from last night, okay? So I took a picture of something last night that really, really just, it was enough to upset me, because it's like, okay, this is you playing the victim right now when you're not actually the victim. This happened like long, long ago. I filed a complaint and report against this because this is just complete and utter trash. Like, there's no reason for this. So let me try to find this, and this will be the last thing I talk about here. Oh man, where is it? All right, so now I'm gonna pull this up. All right. Now, this guy was on Twitter playing the victim because of this last night. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to be mean here, but this is a victimized mentality. I'm the victim, and you have to respect me kind of mentality. He's talking about food. All right. So this guy here was deliberately crying about something that he wasn't even a part of. Okay. And his name's Divided We Fall. Escaping slaves used to throw balls of fried cornmeal out to distract groundhogs from tracking them. The groundhogs would stop barking and start eating, while this was where hush puppies came in from. Okay. So you see where I'm saying that this is a victimized mentality, that this isn't even an actual, he's not dealing with anything, but he's victimizing himself, and he's playing the crybaby right here. But yet, if you called him out on that, he'd bully the hell out of you if you were light-skinned, probably. The people remembering this, and the people priding over this, are the people who are making the world worse right now. And there's two groups of people that make this worse. Two of them are very, very political groups. Now, I'm not going to mention them here, but we need to pay more attention to this, because if these are just sob stories of people complaining about something they weren't even a part of. Like, if you were to take my Irish heritage, and I could complain about that all day. We were enslaved at one point. We were enslaved, But we're not complaining about that here now, are we? My point I'm trying to make is stop giving into this crap, man. It's a bunch of political propaganda for people to feel sorry about people so they can exterminate people. That's what the whole plan is here now. Because over in Jamaica, it's even said they're trying to exterminate white people. So, just throwing that out there. All right. Let me pray before we go, and I'll be back. I'll put up a short, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning with more of this. So, all right. Lord Jesus Christ, I pray that this month alone, I pray that you do something about this month. I pray that you put some reality of truth out there for people to understand that month was not something you created. Lord, I don't know how to get, I wish we could get people to understand that this is a bad month, that this month have just escalated and it got worse. And, people are getting mean about it, and people are being bullied over it, and people are even being killed over it, Lord. We also need to make sure the African American men are not interbreeding with the white women, Lord, because they're lusting over the women and they're being very, very racist about it. It's very hateful and vengeful. And Lord, I pray that you get in the way of it and prevent it from happening. Lord, if we were to go back in time, they should have just prayed for you instead of instead of doing what they did. But Lord, I pray you take care of this, and as for this month, this month changes, Lord, and I know you're trying to put a mirror effect. You're projecting a mirror effect out there, which needs to be seen, which I'm seeing it, and I'm sure other people are seeing it right now too. But we need to prevent this month from being a history month of hatred and all that. We celebrate hatred too much, and I think it's time we change that. We're done. We're past celebrating good holidays anymore. We're celebrating every single hateful holiday, hateful thing that happened to history. We're celebrating it, and Lord, I think it's time we stopped. I think people need to be more aware of it and need to change. Lord, I like last night I saw the worst of it, and I saw a lot of people doing a lot of really bad things on the internet. So Lord, if you could just go about everything and change that, Lord, and also send me good people that understand me. Send me if you send me women, Lord, send me women that will not get persuaded by other people, that will not if they try to persuade, if the woman you send me is persuaded by other people, harden her heart against the people that's persuading her, so she doesn't end up falling victim to them, Lord, because human beings have a power of silver tongue, which I've been praying that you take that away too. Take the silver tongue away, take the crybabiness away, take the people whining away, and stop making the silver tongue so powerful, Lord. Make sure the silver tongue is less powerful than it has been, and prevent it all from happening, and prevent the world try to make the world a better place, Lord. And as for me, bless me today, Lord. Bless me, bless the people that need blessed, and in Jesus' name, amen. So, yeah, guys. Thank you, Mikey. I appreciate it. Yeah. As you can see, there's a lot of bad stuff going on right now, and all we can do is pray. Fighting an actual war isn't good. People get hurt. So I just wanted to make it aware that people are being a little absurd about this and crying too much about this. But anyway, guys, I'm out of here. I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow, same time. I'll be putting a short up here. I'm going to work today, so you won't be seeing any stream later on today. Until then, guys, take it easy and God bless you, and see you tomorrow.